Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Hope you're all having had a good weekend. It's been kind of warm here for the last couple of days, and a lot of the snow has melted. The sun hasn't really poked out much. It's just the temperature's been hovering in the 40s here. So hear a lot of ice, falling off the roof, and a little bit of rain coming down, and stuff. So it's really quite a mess out there. But it's not like freezing over in the slush. They've pretty much scooped a lot of it off to the side, so the roads are pretty well cleared. But you wouldn't know it, living here, because Christ, every day, fucking fire trucks, police cars, ambulances, all the time, zipping by here, running, screaming or something. Christ, I feel like I'm living in New York City here. I never realized just how busy this friggin' area can be. I mean, the last time I lived here was like over 20 years ago, and it wasn't like that then. Jesus, it's like almost every day. I mean, there's a fire station just half a mile here from my place here, and not even a half a mile, it's closer than that, but they're always priced. I think they're used more than the one in downtown Bangor. I mean, Jesus, it's just crazy how often these first responders are constantly on the go around here. Jeez. I mean, I knew Bangor was bad around here with traffic and stuff, but I never thought it was like that. I mean, when I was living in VZ, it was different, because over there you're off to the side of the city, and they don't get a whole lot of activity around there. It's just neighborhoods is all it is over there. So there's no stores or anything like that to draw a lot of traffic. So I got used to the quiet over there. I lived in that area for almost 20 years. Jesus. Oh well. So Trump, has been going all out to protect, the ICE killers here from what they did with Mrs. Good, Renee Good here. And now they're coming out. They've said this a couple days ago. The guy that shot her was a veteran, longtime veteran. And I guess J.D. Vance says that he was probably caught unawares of what he was doing and stuff, and he was trying to paint this picture that his training kicked in or something like that, and the guy is like got scared. And I'm thinking, well, okay, so he's a veteran. He got flustered when she tried to drive away, and he shot her 3 times. And it looks like he might have some psychological issues there, having done that, because logic didn't kick in when he was in that situation. He just reacted. And the first thing he did was reach for his gun and shoot. That tells me maybe this guy shouldn't even be working in ICE, okay? Because he's a loose cannon, okay? I mean, J.D. Vance, that come out of his own mouth, what he was saying about this guy. In his convoluted way, he was trying to defend him. He actually revealed something about him. I'm like, well, you know what? I mean, looking closer at this guy, I mean, just because he's a veteran doesn't give him credence here to do what he did, okay? He still did wrong. He still committed a murder. It's a criminal act. And everybody agrees on that point, that this was a flat-out, you know, execution. The way he handled himself there. They got other angles of the video or whatever the incident, okay? And it doesn't help him any, okay? It's not helping this guy any, because apparently he was recording, the ICE agent, he was recording with his cell phone. Remember I told you when he was walking away, he was on his cell phone tapping, you know, sending a message? Well, he had that in his hand, in one hand, and he had the gun in the other. So he was recording this shit as it was happening. And for some reason, he thought that would give a better indication of, or justification for why he did what he did. Instead, it just buried him even more, because now people saw her in the car. She wasn't angry. She wasn't being, you know, insulting or anything. She was calm and everything, and she was just trying to drive away, okay? And they shot her, and another guy in the background says, "Fucking bitch." You know, okay. You know, I mean, you don't need to convince me. The first video gave me all I needed to know. This other video just emphasizes and highlights more of that first video of why everyone's upset about this, okay? The guy is a cold-blooded killer, all right? And clearly, if he's a veteran, he ain't getting help for his problems, okay? He's not getting any help for his problems. He shouldn't even be carrying a gun, okay? He shouldn't even be walking around with a gun. That's a guy right now who is carrying, and he's a loose cannon. Who else is he going to shoot next? Who else is he going to shoot next? And, you know, I don't think we have any reason to feel safe around a guy like that. Because, you know, he wasn't the only ICE agent that was there, if you recall. There was a number of them that were there, but he's the only one that took out a gun and fired at that car. He wasn't allowed to do that, whether you believe that or not. There are rules of engagement in ICE, okay, and it says that, you know, a vehicle moving, you cannot fire at the vehicle if it's in motion, okay? And he wasn't in danger of being hit by the car, because he was clearly, the first shot, okay, was right into the goddamn driver's side, okay? If he was in front of the car, he wouldn't have been able to do that. He wasn't in front of the car, okay? She was going around him, and she wasn't speeding away. She wasn't speeding away. She was just going around him. And no, he didn't like that. When he told her to stop and she didn't stop, he got pissed. And he took out his gun, you know, acting off his fucking rage. It's like road rage. Acting off his fucking rage because, oh, she didn't listen to me. And he shot her dead. And he turns around and walks off like it was nothing. Okay, while everybody in the neighborhood was screaming bloody murder at this guy, he calmly walks away like it's no fucking, it's just another day in the job, okay? Cold-blooded killer. Okay? I don't care if he was wearing a fucking badge or whatever the hell they give him. Okay? If it was a cop, you know, at another time in this country, people would be out there to, you know, to hang him. Okay? This is no different. I mean, this is a different version of law enforcement, but still the same fucking thing. He overreacted. Okay? Now, the FBI is blocking, you know, local investigators in that area. Basically, they're taking over the investigation, which raises some red flags there. Because remember, who's running the FBI, okay? So that means we're probably not going to get a lot of the real truth here of what happened, okay? Even though people were there and witnessed it, the story we're going to get from the FBI is probably not going to be anywhere near the truth, okay? I mean, Kristi Noem already come out and said her fucking version of this before she had all the facts about what happened. No, she painted a goddamn picture while she was wearing her fucking big-ass cowboy hat there covering her face, okay? She was out there telling a fucking story that existed in another reality. It did not fucking at all look anything like what was on the video. She didn't see the video. She couldn't have. If she did, this story would have been different, but no. She had a story all written out. Probably somebody handed it to her and said, this is what you got to say. It's like, oh. So, you know, the video was all around the fucking world 3 times over, and they told her to read this, and it doesn't match with the fucking video. You know, and it's not enough that she's lying about it. And of course, like I said, you got Trump out there also lying about it and cheering on the fucking agent that committed the murder. And before that murder was even fucking soaked into our minds, 2 more killings happened after that from ICE in other states. One was in Oregon, I think. But yeah, so you see what I mean about, you know, people need to take action and be quick about it, because, you know, these people, when one ICE agent pushes the envelope, the other one will take that envelope, push it further. Okay, we've had quite a few people killed by ICE agents here in as many months. Okay, this is from Current Affairs. I mean, the only domestic terrorists on our streets right now are the ICE agents. Okay, they have murdered a woman on the streets of Minneapolis, and now they're trying to lie to you about it. By now, you've almost certainly seen the footage. Renee Nicole Good, 37-year-old woman driving a purple SUV, is sitting in the street, idling her car. She was a legal observer, there to keep an eye on ICE as they wage yet another series of immigration raids in Minneapolis and report any misconduct she saw. The masked, heavily armed troops approach her, reportedly shouting contradictory instructions. One agent tells her to drive away, another one tells her to get out of the car. One of them grabs her SUV's door handle and yanks on it. Confused and scared, she tries to turn and drive off. So one of the agents draws a pistol and he shoots and kills her. As soon as they kill Renee Good, they begin lying about it. Whenever police of any kind make a public statement, the presumption should be that they may be lying, because lying is something police often do. But even by the usual standards of cops, immigration agents and their defenders, the statements the Department of Homeland Security has put out about Good's killing have been brazenly, insultingly false. On its social media feeds, the DHS has claimed Good was a violent rioter who had weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them. An act of domestic terrorism. This, they say, led the ICE agent to shoot in self-defense, fearing for his life. But again, this is not true. Simply watching the footage is enough to disprove it. These men were wearing body armor and carrying guns. They were approaching an unarmed woman in a Honda, which was barely moving, certainly not fast enough to be much of a weapon. She was not rioting. If they feared for their lives under those circumstances, they had only their own cowardice to blame. This was bound to happen sooner or later. ICE agents are swarming our cities, given heavy weaponry, anonymity, and impunity. They are the largest law enforcement agency in the country thanks to the monster budget Congress has given them. Virtually anybody can become an ICE agent with minimal training, or none, or background checks, including teenagers as young as 18. And there have been multiple cases of ICE officials with ties to neo-Nazi and other white supremacist groups that were only discovered after years on the job. Good isn't the first person they've shot. There have already been 9 others since last September. One fact that defenders of ICE's actions are reluctant to discuss is they didn't just shoot an unarmed mother, they also refused to let a doctor treat her. There's video of this too. The man in question asks if he can go check a pulse. He identifies himself politely as a physician. The responses he gets from ICE are respectively, "No, and I don't care." They wanted her to die. They made sure she died. Even those who ludicrously argued self-defense do not mention this fact because it's totally unconscionable. They actively prevented her from getting assistance. This is what truly turns it into a murder. In case after case, we've seen that Donald Trump, Vance, Kristi Noem, and their allies have no morality. They will simply do whatever they can to get away with it. If they're allowed to get away with kidnapping the president of another country, as they've just done in Venezuela, they will probably do something similar again. Likewise, if they can get away with shooting an American in cold blood on the street, they'll probably shoot another one tomorrow. That's the chilling thing about all these lies. It would be easy enough to tell the truth. Trump would really lose nothing if he simply admitted that one of his ICE agents had done something wrong and held that agent accountable. Troops are easily replaced, but he clearly wants to find out if he can get away with it. If Democrats let him, the consequences will be horrific for everyone. Now is the time to put an end to ICE before anyone else has to die. And that's true. Like I said, you know, what they did, if you've seen the video, you already know, okay? And there's people all over the world that saw that video. I've been seeing comments coming in from different countries and stuff like that who saw this on the internet or on the news in their area and stuff like that. And they're horrified that our country has devolved into this, okay? They know now that fascism rules our country now. And so when they saw that, you know, for a lot of people, it harkened back to times gone by, you know, places like Germany where, you know, fascism and all that took over, and, you know, and seeing that in Italy and stuff. It's similar patterns in the beginning, okay, before those countries became tyrannical to everyone and all their neighbors. That's happening here now, okay? And it's just, you know, unconscionable that Democrats have been so slow here in trying to do something here about this. I'm not really sure what their excuse is at this point. Someone's died. And, you know, if that doesn't motivate them, I mean, what the hell are we really fighting for here in this country? Seriously. I mean, our country's already dead. If we don't have anybody in our political structure who's willing to pick up the mantle of accountability, which has already been laid out from the 250 years ago, already laid out on what we are supposed to do in this country when we have a tyrannical leader running the country, okay? It's already there. All they got to do is do it. That's it. That's all they got to do is do it. Okay? There shouldn't be any discussion of, should we or shouldn't we? You know, sitting there and thinking like that, delaying, you know, only emboldens the criminals. And the criminals, their first reaction to everything is always going to be the gun. All right? Let's take the Venezuelan thing here for a minute, okay? If there was something that Trump or anybody or the oil industry wanted with Venezuela, why did they go the first route using force? Why not negotiate? Why not do something to, you know, well, can we buy some of your oil or something like that? Why not that? No, the first thing they do is, how are we going to invade that country and take it? Okay? Greenland, another country. There's something in Greenland that Trump wants, okay? So instead of coming to a negotiating table and working something out with Greenland or Denmark, no, let's go and take the goddamn country. Okay, those kind of actions, those thoughts align with dictatorships. Okay, that's fascism. That's what we have in our White House right now. There is no negotiating, okay? And that scares the hell out of me because, you know, any problem that comes up around the world, Trump isn't going to try and, you know, be creative to find a way to get the country out of it. You know, the way JFK tried to avoid a war with Russia during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Had Trump been in power then, okay, we would be ashes today, or we wouldn't even be alive, because Trump would have been all gun-ho about going in there. But because we had the right leader at the right time, okay, things ended up differently. That's the kind of caliber of a politician one needs to run a nation of millions, okay? Not somebody that rushes headlong into a war for, you know, oil or what the fuck, you know, okay? Someone who will first try the carrot before they reach for the stick. And Trump, well, the stick is all he knows. All right, it might have worked for him in his business life here, maybe. But that doesn't always work in politics, okay? Yeah, you can be a big mouth and a sword rattler all you want, but at the end of the day, nobody gains out of that. Nobody. So, let's see what's this here. Well, let's go to a commercial break first, and then we'll come back and touch on that one.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Well, she was a Mar-a-Lago girl on the prowl for a billionaire. She thought a nip or tuck here or there would give a little more lift and make Donald stare. After all, that was Melania's plan, and she wasn't even blonde like Ivanka was. Yeah, with blonde hair dye, dry and cheap, fat injections, beauty is indeed. Botox all night. Get a facelift, baby. Make your skin so tight. She was a Mar-a-Lago girl. Well, she'd been working at the spa. Almost got stolen by Epstein. But now that she was getting quite old, running out of time, old maid almost 18, and for just one desperate moment there, she envisioned a life with JD. God, it's so painful, something that's so close, and still so far out of reach. Botox all night. Get a facelift, baby. Make your skin so tight. She was a Mar-a-Lago girl.
This morning, Minneapolis police officers received a report of federal law enforcement being involved in a deadly force incident.
A woman is dead after an ICE agent used lethal force, and instead of transparency, you are being fed bullshit. This happened under the authority of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement by an administration that has told you time and time again that cruelty is policy. Under leaders that believe that they and those in uniform should be immune from accountability. And we can't talk about what happened yesterday without talking about the pattern. ICE agents have been terrorizing immigrants in this country. But it didn't stop there, right? Because then they're terrorizing and harassing U.S. citizens that fit the descriptions of their targets. Something that our very own Supreme Court said they're allowed to do. Citizens who are funding this government with their own money through tax dollars are paying to be harassed, detained, and interrogated. Countless of Black lives have been taken by law enforcement in daylight, on camera, with witnesses. And time again, we are told to wait, to be patient, to trust the process. We are fed excuses and justifications. And then you have Kristi Noem, a woman who shot and killed her own puppy and managed to explain it away, is now coming on here and misleading and flat out lying to the public. They are not protecting you. They are protecting their power. Law enforcement authority does not include being able or having the right to kill without consequence. Federal badges are not a license to execute people on the street. If this happened in any other country, ICE would be considered a terrorist organization by the United States government. You know that, right? A bunch of untrained, masked, armed militants going around and terrorizing communities. They told you they were just gonna go out and get criminals. They lied to you. And when they didn't stop there, you said nothing. And they're lying to you now, and it is imperative that you do something. I have said time and time again to learn from history because it always teaches us something. And with fascism, there is always a next group. It never stops with the first people that are targeted or the first lie that was told in order to maintain law and order. It doesn't stop with the first death explained away as necessary. What begins with the dehumanization of one community always ends with a system that doesn't recognize humanity at all. Every authoritarian regime begins with them telling the public whose deaths do not matter. And that regime manages to survive because too many people believe them. If this can be buried, if this can be lied about, if this can be waved away as procedure, then no one is safe from a government who has decided that some lives are disposable. Ironically enough, Black Lives Matter always meant all lives matter, but you were just too fucking hateful to see it. Because if they could do it to them, they will come and they will do it to you. You guys, outrage isn't optional here. It's the bare fucking minimum. If you stay silent when the states decide who is disposable, don't be surprised when you are next. They are daring you to accept this. And refusing to just might be the last power you still have.
So small. Every answer's our leader's call. We don't need to think at all.
March in step and sing along. Pretend our leader's big and strong.
If you ask us why is this allowed, we just say, what about?
Hats on tight, sing his praise. Making big and great again. Don't confuse us with the facts. La 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 la, we don't look back. La la la, la la la, la 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 la.
Okay, bigots, We need to kick that Tamale family out of Bigot's Land. They are garbage. We don't want them in our country.
That's right, Daddy Bigot. Tamalia is the worst land. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
They are also committing massive fraud in Bigot's Land. That Bigot's journalist kid said so.
I hate Tamalians.
That's right, Stephen Bigot. How do you propose we get the Tamalians out of Bigot's Land? All right, everyone out. Daddy Bigot is resting his eyes.
Daddy Bigot wants us to do something about the fentanyl coming into Bigot's Land by boat on Bigot's Lake.
I have an idea. We can throw atomic bigot balls at the boats until they blow up. That will show them.
Bigot Village is not as bad as I thought it would be.
The fentanyl turned them blue.
Oh wait, that wasn't the right lake.
They look different from us. That's enough of a crime.
Guys, can you stop blowing up the boats bringing important goods to Bigot's Land? You know how hard it's getting to score Bigot candy? Sheesh.
Sorry, Koki Bigot.
Why do we only take people from S-hole countries like Waity and others? Why not Norway, Sweden? We need a permanent pause on non-bigot migration, especially from Waity. Waitians are eating our pets. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs.
I hate Waitians.
I will make Bigot's Land great again. We got people coming into Bigot's Land and we don't even know who they are. So I am calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering Bigot's Land.
I hate Muslims.
To think I totally voted for this guy.
There is too much heat on me for the Jeffrey Bigotstein files. I need a distraction. Go into that neighboring village and kidnap their leader.
All right, Bigot Force Team 6. He calls himself Papa and is some sort of narco-terror cult leader. We extract the target alive.
Take your hands off me.
I didn't even want this Archduke Trump, but many bigots were asking for it. It's a beauty, isn't it? Tallest structure in Bigot's Land since 9/11. As a special treat, I want to introduce you to 2 African immigrants we brought over to Bigot Land at the suggestion of Bigot Musk, our cyber guy. Aren't they beauts? I think with bigots like them, we truly can make Bigot's Land great again.
It's totally true.
I really hate that sad loser, Mr. Newberger.
Who, me?
I hate Mr. Newberger.
La 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 la.
We're the bigots, one and all, and our mushrooms are so small. Every answer's our leader's call. We don't need to think at all.
March in step and sing along. Pretend our leader's big and strong.
If you ask us why is this allowed, we just say, what about?
Hats on tight, sing his praise. Making bigots great again. Don't confuse us with the facts. La 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 la, we don't look back. La la la, la la la, la 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 la.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. All right, I want to read this little comment here I found over the shooting here of Renee Good. This was written by Molly Conger, referring to the video. They didn't leak it, the video, to make the shooter look innocent, but to make the victim look guilty. Not guilty of a crime, guilty of having a visibly queer wife, guilty of liberalism, guilty of opposing the regime. They don't seek to exonerate themselves, only to demonstrate who deserves to die. Yeah. And Chris Hayes put, in the video the shooter took, which I believe was leaked to be exculpatory, he appears to yell, quote-unquote, fucking bitch, after he shoots Renee Good. Yeah, so, what they're saying is, hey, look, this video is all over the fucking place, okay? Even the video that the cop, or the ICE agent himself, was carrying or recording as he was doing this, that got out too. And, maybe that was done deliberately, like what Molly was saying here, to try and intimidate the rest of us who see the video, that this is what happens if you're gay, or this is what happens if you're a liberal, or this, you know what I'm saying? If you oppose us, we're going to kill you on sight. And that only emphasizes more, I think, the fact that these people are just Nazis in general. Okay, that's what they are. I mean, Nazis. That's why they killed so many people, right? For the same fucking reason. These people don't deserve to live. So we're going to round them up and kill them. How long is it going to be until we start talking about a Holocaust in this country if we allow things to continue the way they are? Because, that's just around the corner, I mean, how do we know that's not happening right now at some of these camps here that they got in other places here to take all the illegals to? But they're not just putting them there and killing them. I mean, how do we know? I mean, we just don't know, because we can't trust anything that comes out of this regime's mouth. We can't trust it. I mean, this is the time when, the press is really needed here in order to create accountability, and they are sadly lacking here in that regard. It's the only way we've been getting information about anything is from people on the ground with their phones, their camera phones. That way the media can't deny that these things are happening. They have to address it. When it's become viral, they would be stupid not to talk about it. So we have to do that in order to push the fucking media to discuss it. That's one of the things why people are saying, when you see something like that, record it, because it's otherwise probably won't get mentioned on the local news or the national news. And it'll just get swept under the rug. But if it goes viral and everybody's looking at it and talking about it, then, hey, the media would be stupid to disregard it, because, hey, that's ratings, right? If it bleeds, it leads. Okay. I thought this was kind of an unusual story here. Vivek Ramaswamy's family bodyguard has been arrested on drug trafficking charges. Columbus, Ohio. This is from the AP. Republican Ohio gubernatorial candidate Vivek Ramaswamy has expressed alarm that a man who worked as his family's bodyguard is facing federal drug trafficking charges. Justin Salisbury, 43 years old, of Bellefontaine, and his wife Ruth Ann Rankin were each charged late last month with conspiracy and possession with the intent to distribute large amounts of narcotics through the U.S. mail. Salisbury was employed by a private security firm hired by the Ramaswamis for protective services, according to campaign spokesperson Connie Luck. She said that ARC Protection Group removed him from the family security detail immediately upon learning of the matter. According to the criminal complaints, 261 parcels containing counterfeit OxyContin and other pills were delivered to the couple's Western Ohio home between August of 2024 and just last month. Rankin has been removed from her employment as a school teacher in nearby Urbana, according to a statement posted by the district. Salisbury is being held in the Franklin County Jail in Columbus, according to the facility's website. Rankin was held and later released. Drugs, huh? Vivek's family, quote, Vivek's family contracts with a private security firm for protective services and was alarmed to hear this disturbing news, unquote, Luck said in a text. She said that Salisbury had cleared multiple background checks run by the security company, the FBI, and the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation prior to his employment. The most recent one was conducted by Ohio State University's Wexner Medical Center in September, she said. Well, you know, you see what I'm talking about when you talk drugs, fighting drugs, and the Trump sitting there, we're going into Venezuela. You know, they got drugs coming into this country, and then you read something about that. Okay, I'm telling you, whenever somebody, you know, a politician sitting here talking about waging a war on trying to cripple the drug industry, or, you know, the illegal industry of narcotics and stuff like that, it's a smokescreen. Everybody who's anybody knows that there's no way you can stop that shit, okay? Because it ain't just coming in from one country or some other country you might name. It's coming in from multiple areas. And not only that, but we got it right here in our own country being created and sold on the fucking streets. So if there was any real serious attempt to try to stop drugs at all, okay, there would be much more sensible actions being taken, okay, than waging a war on a country. Okay, just because, you know, maybe a few kilos of it came from this country or a few kilos from that country. Okay, I mean, you're going to be fighting every fucking country on the planet here, you know, because there's always somewhere that's coming in. I mean, sometimes it might get routed in a different way, from starting in one country, going through another, coming out of another, you know what I'm saying? It's all fucking games, you know. So when you have an idiot like Trump sitting there telling people, oh, we're going after Venezuela because they're drug cartels and stuff, it's like, yeah, right, okay. No, we knew what it was from the very beginning, because anyone who keeps up with things about Venezuela or other countries and stuff realizes that Venezuela is sitting on the third largest deposit of oil there in the world. I mean, why else would they be going down there? Why do you think Russia depended on them? You know, for Christ's sake, you know, it's so obvious. All right, here's another story here. Judge to temporarily block an effort to end protections for relatives of citizens' green card holders. This is from the Boston AP. A federal judge said Friday that she expects to temporarily block efforts by the Trump administration to end a program that offered temporary legal protections for more than 10,000 family members of citizens and green card holders. U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani said at a hearing that she planned to issue a temporary restraining order but did not say when it would be issued. This case is part of a broader effort by the administration to end temporary legal protection, for numerous groups, and comes just over a week since another judge ruled that hundreds of people from South Sudan may live and work in the United States legally. Quote, the government, having invited people to apply, is now laying traps between those people and getting the green card, unquote. Justin Cox, an attorney who works with Justice Action Center and who argued the case for the plaintiffs, said, quote, that is incredibly inequitable, unquote. This case involved a program called Family Reunification Parole, or FRP, and impacts people from Colombia, Cuba, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Haiti, and Honduras. Most of them are set to lose their legal protections, which were put in place during the Biden administration by January 14. The Department of Homeland Security terminated protections late last year. The case involves 5 plaintiffs, but lawyers are seeking to have any ruling cover everyone that is part of the program. Quote, although in a temporary status, these parolees did not come temporarily, they came to get a jump start to their new lives in the United States, typically bringing immediate family members with them, unquote. Plaintiffs wrote in their motion, quote, since they arrived, FRP parolees have gotten employment authorization documents, jobs, and enrolled their kids in school, unquote. The government, in its brief and in court, argued Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has the authority to terminate any parole program and gave adequate notice by publishing the termination in the Federal Registry. It also argued that the program's termination was necessary on national security grounds. Here we go again. Because the people had not been properly vetted. It also said resources to maintain this program were better used in other immigration programs. Quote, parole can be terminated at any time, unquote. Katie Rose Talley, a lawyer for the government, told the court, quote, that is what is being done. There is nothing unlawful about that, unquote. Talwani conceded that the government can end the program, but she took issue with the way it was done. The government argued that just announcing in the Federal Registry that it was ending the program was sufficient, but Talwani demanded the government show how it has alerted people through a written notice, a letter, or email that the program was ending. Quote, I understand why plaintiffs feel like they came here and made all these plans and were going to be here for a long time, unquote, Talwani said. Quote, I have a group of people who are trying to follow the law. I am saying to you that we as Americans, United States, needs to, unquote. Lower courts have largely supported keeping temporary protections for many groups, but in May, the Supreme Court cleared the way for the Trump administration to strip temporary legal protections from hundreds of thousands of immigrants for now, pushing the total number of people who could be newly exposed to deportation to 1 million. The justices lifted a lower court order that kept humanitarian parole protections in place for more than 500,000 migrants from 4 countries, Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. The decision came after the court allowed the administration to revoke temporary legal status from about 350,000 Venezuelan migrants in another case. The court did not explain its reasoning in the brief order, as is typical on its emergency docket. 2 justices publicly dissented. Every one of, this administration is pathetic. Okay, every one of Trump's picks are a total failure, in their departments. Noem, Hegseth, being the worst, aside, for the obvious of having a felon as president. It's no democracy, but, an autocracy or dictatorship, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Time and again, governments have committed, their worst abuses while hiding behind the phrase national security. Remember, I heard that phrase being used in that. When a politician invokes those words, your skepticism should be switched on right off, okay? Because now that's being used to say, oh, we're about to do something illegal, but we got to sell it as national security, okay? And especially with this fucking regime we got here, yeah, you better be skeptical, okay? You would be wise to be skeptical. You would be wise to even be a little bit conspiratorial about what could be going on behind the scenes, because for a person who was running to be to create a government that was transparent He has done everything but. Okay? He hasn't been transparent about a fucking thing. Nothing. Now, whether MAGA wants to believe that or not is beside the point. Frankly, I don't give a fuck. But the fact is, the rest of us are seeing this. The rest of us are seeing that, you know, this administration has a great deal to hide from us. Because a lot of things are going on that, well, we didn't really know it was going to get to this point. But some of us kind of speculated that it could, given the person that was going to be helming all this shit. Okay? And so it's very possible that things are only going to get worse from here, and we're probably not going to know about it until the morning of. Like every Monday, it seems like something new comes out that this fucking regime has done that boggles the imagination. That's like, you know, another law has been circumvented, another action has been done. You know, someone else has been killed, or a bunch of people have been kidnapped and deported. You know, it's always something. And, you know, if you can't see it the way people outside this country can see it and recognize it for what it is, then we've gotten too complacent in America here, way too complacent to think that, oh, it's only going to get better. It's got to get better. It can't go on like this. Well, yeah, if we all think that, then who's the one that's actually going to do anything to make it better and come to an end, right? We can't all just stay home and, you know, and cross our fingers that things aren't going to happen to us until somebody, you know, we figure, oh, somebody's going to do it. Well, who's the someone? Okay, who is the someone that you keep talking about that's going to undo all this shit? Okay? If everybody's safely or thinks they're safe at home, waiting for that miracle to happen, you're going to be waiting, and then all hell's going to break loose around you before you even see it. Okay? That's how the United States entered World War II, believe it or not. Most Americans at the time, before Pearl Harbor, had no interest at all in getting involved in that war over there. They figure, oh, it'll work itself out. It'll go away. The Allies will win, okay? Or something will happen, okay? And then all of a sudden, Pearl Harbor happened. Well, that brought the war right on people's doorsteps, okay? Then all of a sudden, attitudes changed and everybody got involved, okay? Everybody, not even people, I mean, more than just the people in the military or in the government, but regular citizens got involved. Okay, remember how they were rationing out food and different resources and gas and supplies and wood? Everybody was taking a bite from this, okay, to fight that war and bring it to its end. This is kind of the same thing here, but it's not, you know, World War II, but we have a country here in chaos, in crisis. Our country is in chaos and crisis. And we have, you know, a pseudo-Hitler sitting in our White House, waging war on us, using his personal goon squad of brown shirts to go around and shoot and kill people, kidnap them, deport them, all over the country. And too many of us are getting comfortable with that as being the reality, just like we've been getting comfortable with the reality of sending your kids to a school that ends up becoming a battleground with school shootings. We've gotten complacent there too. Our complacency is what's killing us, because we don't have people willing to get motivated after a crisis to do something. I mean, when is our Pearl Harbor going to happen in this generation to get people off their ass and out there? Okay, when do we have to wait for, you know, something like that? Okay, in any other country, this killing of, you know, like Renee Good happening in another country would have been a government-ending fucking scandal. Seriously, it would have been. But the fact that our government goes on after such a disgraceful situation that happened here a few days ago, suddenly people, you know, are just kind of shelved it in the back of their minds, and they're not really thinking, yeah, there's protests, okay? I'm not going to say everybody, but I'm saying, yes, there are people out there, and we know who they are, and some of us, you know, are surprised at some of them who they are, but they're just, you know, hoping that, you know, things will just miraculously turn around. And it doesn't turn around on its own. It never does. It only turns around when you make it happen. Okay? We didn't win the war in World War II by waiting for something to happen to make it end. We got involved in it and we brought it to an end. Okay? Yeah. It was costly. Okay? Sometimes, you know, things like that, it does take time and it does take a huge cost in order to do what's right. I think everybody can recognize that. Hell, talk to any first responder, especially a fireman. Every situation they go into, it could be a fatal situation for one or many of their firemen. But they know they can't just sit home and do nothing and let the fire go on. They have to do something. So, we expect them to. And in this situation, we should be expecting each other to do something about that, about what's happening right now, okay? And I would say that, yes, these people, the ICE people or whatever, with their guns and all that stuff, may look tough. They may look tough. That's a facade. Because when they're standing alone and they're surrounded by hordes and hordes of people, okay, they're sweating bullets because they know they ain't got enough bullets to bring down everybody, okay? Their only option is to get the fuck out of Dodge, okay? But that's what I'm talking about. In huge numbers, we can affect change, okay? We can affect change, and we can make things real difficult for these brown shirts here to do what they're doing. We can. And like I said, that's what I'm talking about when I say, you know, people need to step up and rise to the occasion, the way we did in World War II when Pearl Harbor was hit. We rose to the occasion. We wanted revenge for that. We ought to be asking for revenge here for what happened to Renee Good. She was, from all accounts, a nice person, okay? Somebody that, you know, any one of us would be happy to know or been friends with. And now, that was one of the people. They always say the good die young, right? Well, here's an example of that, and not to, you know, because you know, her last name was Good, but yeah, and she died young. She was died through violence, and it was unjustified. There was no need for that. I could have handled that situation 100 times better. You know what I'd have done? If she wasn't allowed to leave, I'd have just shot at the tires. Car wouldn't go anywhere if it were a damn flat tire, okay? Didn't think of that, did he? No, he shoots the driver. Okay? What a dingbat. She's in a car. There's 100 ways you can stop that car, okay, without killing the driver. But that's what I'm talking about. It's just the violence. That's always the approach with fascism, is they always take the violent option first. They don't try to mitigate it or use some other method to you know, deal with the situation, like cops are trained to do. I mean, if you ever watch these videos about cops, they give warnings like 10,000 times. Step out of the car. Step out of the car. When the person say, I'm not getting out of the car, they keep saying it like 50, 60 times. These people are not eager to pull out the gun and use it. Okay, in fact, they got other options. They got tear gas, they got the zapper there, whatever they fucking call it. Okay, they got all these other options before they have to use the gun. Did you see this ICE agent using anything other than the gun? No. There was no need for it. This woman was not, you know, a terrorist like Kristi Noem there was trying to lay her out to be. I mean, that's insane. Disgusting. Trying to justify what she did. Or what he did, okay? That's fucked up. That woman was no more of a terrorist than I was, okay? And this is, you know, we have a situation where, like I said, we need people to step up, okay? or we're going to have to wait for our Pearl Harbor moment where nobody's going to have a choice but to step up because we waited too long to do so up to that point. And I don't know what the cost is going to be then. It couldn't be greater than we could imagine. But if we wait until then, that's what's going to happen. That's why I say we need to step up now. We need to step up now. We need to intimidate the ICE agents whenever we see them. We need to come out, all of us, in force, okay, and make these people scared to be around here or here, wherever they're at, okay, where they'll just jump back into their fucking SUVs and peel out of there, okay. That's what you have to do, because, you know, I've also seen some videos where people are out there and they start shouting at them and they blowing whistles and all that stuff, and all of a sudden they just decide we're leaving, okay. Even though they got guns, they're leaving. And I'm thinking, well, nobody had to die, but they you know, dealt with the problem, okay? So they kind of drove off and, you know, so that's what I'm saying, is that these people are intimidated by huge crowds, big numbers. And yeah, we don't know where they're going to show up. It's not like they announce it on the radio that, oh, ICE going to be here. No, they don't show up, but we have to figure out where they're going to show up. Courthouses especially. Okay, whenever something, you know, where there's an immigration case or something like that, and they know that someone has to appear to court, you can pretty much guarantee somebody from ICE is going to be there. Okay, and it's illegal for them to kidnap somebody trying to appear in court. Okay, so people would be justified to resist the ICE agents trying to commit a crime against the court. All right, so like I said, it's one of those things where you have to, you know, assume that this is where they're going to be. That's how you have to figure it out, okay? And like I say, drive around in unmarked cars, you don't know who they are, all right? But when they step out of the vehicle and you see them, you know, okay? They'll be wearing masks or some damn thing or some silly outfit, you know, that they got. That's how you know. That's how you figure it out. And you know, we've had some run-ins in this state here with ICE. You know, in the last few months and stuff like that. Some people have been arrested. In fact, I think one of the restaurants, they had Border Patrol go in there and arrest somebody that was working at one of the Chinese restaurants in Bangor here. There was, I think it's Colby or something like that. I think that's the name of the place. That happened here like a couple weeks ago, I guess. But yeah, they're around, you know. And so, you know, like I said, it's, you know, we need to step up our game, okay? Because they're getting more bold and emboldened because they figure that, you know, we can shoot and everything, and we'll get protected by the government. We have to make sure that they understand that that's wrong, all right? And we have to make that known and loud, you know, as clear as possible, that we don't accept that. You can do your job without the violence. Try. Do better, okay? It doesn't have to be somebody dying every fucking time you're out there on the street, because that looks so hateful, and you know, from you know, anyone's point of view outside of this country, when they see that, they can't look at that as a justified killing. It ain't. No, it ain't any more justified than all the women Ted Bundy killed. Okay, it really isn't. And you know, MAGA trying to make excuses for that, and it's funny when you see their comments and how they do it. I mean, only an idiot would say what they're saying here to cover this shit. But that's what's left. That's all that's left for Trump. That's his base now. Bunch of morons. Okay? And believe me, his popularity is forever shrinking now. I mean, it's really low. And he's got nothing. He's really got nothing. And, you know, the pushback on him has got to be increased this year. We need to get people motivated to start the impeachment process here and start bringing charges on him. Okay, we really need to do that. And I don't think we should wait till after the midterms. I think we ought to start it now. I really do. I think we ought to, because it's only going to get worse. And we may not even have midterms. So we might as well start it now instead of waiting. That's just my opinion anyway. I don't know how you think about it. But all right, so that's it for today. Hope everybody has a great work week. So subscribe, comment, share. Keep your ears open for any health issues out there. And watch each other's backs out there and fronts and every damn thing else, okay? Because like I was just talking about ICE, they're everywhere. So keep your eyes watching each other here, and be prepared, you know, to get involved as, you know, as a community, to come together to, you know, intimidate these people to get out of your neighborhoods, out of your towns, your cities, or whatever, okay? Because the sheer number of people is the one thing they don't like, is being, you know, seeing a descending thousands coming out. They're going to haul ass because they ain't carrying enough weapons or enough bullets to be able to stop you, okay? They can't. So that's what I'm saying. Watch each other out. Help each other out. Do these things, okay, through these trying times. We need to do that. I'll talk to you later.